Live in a minute, Blizzard King, this is Winter, Dennis Sperling Podcast. You are rocking with the realest black men representing. Ain't no lies cause we winning, catching flies, ain't no feelings. Uncle D, we the villain, baby. We just left the village, baby. Now we in them villas, baby. Dennis Sperling Podcast, tuning in, we get it, baby. You can hate the player, hate the game, we love all you haters. Hate watch, calling lovely ladies, hands on your knees. You can thank us later. We snatching the crowns off of queens, we obliterate them. Tell the truth, shame the devil, they tryna eliminate us. You begging the sipping haters, peeling layers off potatoes. Whoa, Southern Cadillac music like Outkast, ain't jumping without bass. Dennis Sperling Podcast. Whoa. Southern Cadillac music like Outkast, ain't jumping without bass. Dennis Sperling Podcast. Whoa.
Look, you might not like it, but that's still who we are. That exuberance, that flamboyantness, that's the black man. And below I see athleticism, I see timing, I see soul. I promise you, if that was a white man out there dancing like that, moving and had that sort of timing, you all would be okay with it. And I'm telling you, it's okay to be okay with it. It's appropriate. He is at the African-American graduation. He's getting his AA degree. That boy is probably no more than 19, 20 years old. Coming from where he came from, the same place I came from, if I could dance like that, I might do it now.
Puerto Rican man or Dominican man?
Black.
Puerto Rican man or Dominican man?
Like black men. Like all the cultures. This is the happiest people I ever met. And the nice.
If you tell the truth, you're gonna rub
the most beautiful
If you tell the truth, you lose your job. If you tell the truth, people think you're a bad guy.
We winning. We foundation inventors over here. Black men been building and contending over here. Gender wars have started, lot of sinning over here. Trying to get it together, no pretending over here. God's plan is real, they attacking the original. How you want protection in your section, hypocritical. How you want a real man, think it's so cynical. Number one, in hospital deaths, talking clinical. Depression turn 50, die alone, it's preventable. You can't even wear your own hair using chemicals. You won't even listen to your man, not identical. You having them Drake babies, we not feeling you. Time is running out, you can't hide, we revealing you. Ain't nobody ever told the lies that we see in you. Divest, vanilla up your pie, still invisible. That's why we fly to friendly skies, and here's the proof. Yeah, baby, we winning over here. No drama, no mamas, yeah, we winning over here. Options, we got options, we winning over here. One take a L when we winning over here. This when it feels like we winning over here. Celebrate, they hate while we winning over here. Smell that, that's confidence, we winning over here. Passport, no doubt, cause we winning over here. We winning over here. Man. Can't wait to get back to Thailand, man. Got on my Bangkok shirt, man. I'll be back out there. Oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm just peace, relaxation.
You had enough of the Matrix?
Oh man, I already had enough when I got back almost 2 months ago.
Different. What I tell you, when you come back, everything.
Oh yeah, always. We winning over here. Jump the blizzard jumps. Jump the blizzard, yeah, the blizzard jumps. Jump the blizzard, yeah, the blizzard jumps. The blizzard, cause the blizzard jumps. Finances are short, so they taking from the men. Open up them borders, let them immigrants come in. Dilute the water, so you sipping from the sin. Bioengineered all the food that's going in.
This is science meat. FDA approved science meat, of course. It was grown in a vat instead of inside an animal's body. And I'm about to chow down on it.
Poison the country, even music full of gin. Evil spirits and devils got us jumping out the spin. Can't trust the people, no community events. Diseases inside, destroy communities within. Yeah, baby, we winning over here. No drama, no mamas, yeah, we winning over here. Options, we got options, we winning over here. Why take a L when we winning over here? That's when it feels like we winning over here. Celebrate, they hate while they winning over here. Smell that, that's confidence, we winning over here. Passport, no doubt, I'll be winning over here. jump the blizzard and the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. Up jump the blizzard and the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. Up jump the blizzard, yeah, the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. Up jump the blizzards and the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king.
And $1 million for you can't see the pumps. Not country. Country girl just love you just because. You want to work so hard? You work too hard for the town girl. Country girl take you how you is. Country girl accept you. You understand what I say? Country girl will cook for you, clean for you, wash your clothes for you, make sure wipe out mat out your eye for you, dig out your nose for you, bust your bum for you, turn in no time for that.
I'm trying to see what that be like right there. Look, be that time.
Gunshot means forward. You requested it, so we rewound.
Yeah, baby, we winning over here. No drama, no mamas, yeah, we winning over here. Options, we got options, we winning over here. Why take a L when we winning over here? That's what when it feels like we winning over here. Celebrate their hate while they winning over here. Smell that, that's confidence, we winning over here. Passport, no doubt, I'll be winning over here. Up jump the blizzard and the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. Up jump the blizzard and the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. Up jump the blizzard, yeah, the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. Up jump the blizzards and the blizzard jumps me. Up jump the blizzard talking about the blizzard king. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning, 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 we winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning, 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 we winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning, 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 we winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning, 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 we winning, we winning, we winning, we winning, winning.
And then you wonder why brothers want to get on the airplanes and go other places. Half the time we could deal with the women, it's you dudes. You self-hating, selfish, narcissistic black men that we don't want to be around. We can't enjoy anything. Because if we got 2 nickels more to rub together, then you want to come hit us upside the head and take it. Y'all always coveting somebody else's stuff. Y'all, truthfully, y'all jealous of that man, Aaron Sloan. You wish you could speak like him. He was too proud, and so y'all wanted to break him down, just like the slave catcher DNA that's running through your blood. What's up? What's up? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is Dennis Sperling, live from the Dennis Sperling podcast, Hall of Fame attorney, business owner, and my best title, and the one I'm most proud of, father. Big shout out to everybody in the chat room. Shout out to Cody Marshall, TIQS, Pooh Man 313. That's a pretty dope name. Pooh Man. Pooh Man 313. Hootsie, Dr. Steele, shout out to you. Big shout out to everybody, man. Make sure you check in. All my folks is checking in from overseas, man. Check in. Let me know where you're checking in from. All right, it's Detroit in the house. Big shout out to Detroit. I got big business going on in Detroit now, man. I'm looking forward to opening a law office in Detroit sometimes before the end of the year. Shout out to everybody in Michigan. Shout out to Detroit. Where is Detroit at? Yeah. Somebody say, yeah. Big shout out to Michigan, man. Michigan. Shout out to Detroit. Yeah, so I'm going to open a law office in Detroit soon. Start doing some business up in Detroit, man. Detroit's one of my favorite cities. Chicago, Detroit. I love those places, man. And I'm actually looking forward to going up there and checking out some of the games, the Tigers. I mean, it's just a historic city. So many great people, great African-American people, great black people have come through Detroit, man. I got much love for Detroit. Big shout out to Bakersfield, California. We got North Carolina, San Antonio, Texas. Who else we got up in here, man? The Philippines is checking in. Wow. We got the Philippines checking in, man. Shout out to the Filipinos, man. Shout out to all the Filipinos who came through and represented well for the Passport Bros. Shout out to the Passport Bros, man. Shout out to all the Passport Bros. Big up to you fellas. Overseas, enjoying yourself, man. It's The summer is starting to wind down a little bit. You know what I mean? Right? Starting to wind down a little bit. And you know, it's we getting back to what we do. You see what I mean? And we're gonna be busy here this this winter, this fall, and we're gonna make some groundbreaking podcasts right here, man. So shout out to everybody who's been here for a minute. Who else we got? Minnesota, NOLA, of course, Indiana. Of course, we got NOLA, Indiana up in here. Yeah. So anyway, you guys who've been here for a minute, how long have you been here? If you've been on my page more than a year, go ahead and put the number of years you've been here. If you've been here a few months, type the number of months you've been in here. My podcast is a lot different than a lot of most. And the reason they call me Uncle D, because I'm like family. Somebody type family in the chat room. I'm going to tell you how it is, whether you like it or not. You can call me anything you want to call me. Toxic masculinity, homo, whatever you want to say, phobic. I don't care, because I am interested in creating better black men. Okay, BBBs. I'm interested in creating better black men. In fact, I want black men to be the best men they can be. That's what I'm interested in. And if it means I have to talk to you in a way that may make you uncomfortable, make you have to rethink some of the decisions that you've made in your life, well, then that's what I'm going to do. And if you guys haven't figured it out yet, I really don't care what other podcasters are doing. I really don't care what they say. I'm not interested in what YouTube has to say. I'm not interested in what Facebook has to say. All the people watching me on Twitter, I don't care. Y'all realize that Uncle D does not care. I'm going to do this work. I'm going to help try to create influence black men to be the best men they can be. And then that's going to be it. I'm an advocate for black men. I'm an advocate for black men, which means I stand in the cut for Chris Brown. I stand in the cut for R. Kelly. I stand in the cut for every black man, whether accused, guilty, whatever. I'm going to stand in the cut for my brothers, because I'm not going to allow, let me say that again, I am not going to allow folks to just destroy the reputation of black men, period. Just not going to do it. Number one, because I am a black man. More importantly, because I have 3 black sons who will inherit, they will inherit that reputation of degeneracy that's been passed down from one generation of black man to another. And it's totally unfounded. Okay? The deadbeat daddy trope, totally unfounded, been debunked over and over again. You black men who are listening to this, the minute you have a child, you are going to be deemed a deadbeat dad by default. And so I don't think that that's fair. My children are innocent, just like your children are innocent. And we don't have to let that happen. We can use our platforms. We can use our voices to speak up for ourselves. We don't allow destiny to dictate to us who will be. We guard our reputation fiercely. And part and parcel of that reputation, and the major part of that reputation, is black fatherhood. Somebody type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. Somebody type BFM in the chat room. Somebody type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. Come on, y'all. Let's get some crowd participation. Somebody type BFM in the chat room. BFM in the chat room. Let's see it. Come on, give it to me. Black Fathers Matter. That's what this should be about. The whole reason that there is even a black manosphere is because first there was a manosphere. And the reason that there is a manosphere is because there was something called the men's rights movement. Men got together, white men specifically, and did their very best to try to change the laws that negatively affected the outcomes that fathers were receiving in the family court system. And so after years and years of trying to get the family courts and the legislators to change some of these biased rules that favored women over men as far as parentage, they realized it was futile because it was big business. And they said, oh, well, heck with it. And they sought refuge on the internet. This is back when they had the startup. You guys remember that? No, this is what some of those chat groups were about. Fathers resorting to the internet to gripe and complain about how unjust the family law system. That was back in the 1990s. Here we are 30 years later, and we're still dealing with that. But those men went to the internet and they began to complain. And that gave rise to what we call the black or the manosphere, MGTO, TOW, all these other movements, the red pill movement, understanding female nature. And here we are, and that evolved to what we have now, which is the black manosphere, or black male-oriented media, which seems to be not only driving relationships, but also driving politics. That's how powerful our voice has become. So when we get back to our roots, this male-oriented media, specifically this black male-oriented media, the whole source of it was that we wanted to be better fathers. And so being a father matters. Being a black father really matters. Now, I am not one of these people who is going to try to undermine the great success that black fathers have had. There was a 2015 article that came out, published by the CDC, that said black fathers are the most involved fathers, okay? Black fathers are the most involved fathers of every other ethnic group, okay? And a lot of people didn't like that because it went against the negative trope, and there was science behind it. And there's been a big deal made about it, and I'm sure pretty soon people are going to say, well, that's 10 years old, things have changed. But it still remains true. And so we want to give credit to those men. We want to give credit to the black men. But this, again, like I said, the CDC came to the conclusion that black dads are actually better fathers than every other group of men. And we want to keep that going. We want to keep that going. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take the opportunity to begin to explain to you all what my thoughts are on fatherhood. For you all who don't know, see, I'm not one of these people giving you advice from a place of, or should I say, from lack of knowledge. I'm speaking to you all from a place of knowledge. I'm speaking to you all from a place of experience. Pretty much everything that you fellas have had to deal with, whether it be baby mama problems, ex-wife problems, divorce problems, I've had to deal with that. And some of you all know that I'm still dealing with that. But I don't accept any excuse available for not being a father to my children, because at the end of the day, I am the one who got that woman pregnant. Now, I will caveat and tell you guys this. Very, very difficult, nearly impossible to co-parent if you have a woman who is not cooperative. Now, this is not going to turn into a blame women fest, but let me say that again. You cannot co-parent, or it's nearly impossible to adequately co-parent if you don't have a woman who is cooperative. If you got one of these hard-headed, thick-necked, hard to deal with women that does not want to co-parent or wants to hold the children for hostage, then you are going to have limited success raising your children and being the best father you can be. That's just what it is. And a lot of women go out of their way to make it extremely difficult for parents, men specifically, to co-parent. It's almost like they get their kicks and giggles out of holding the children hostage and then turning around and talking bad about you once you give up and say, oh, well, I'm out, can't deal with this. And then they want to turn around and call you a deadbeat dad because you either ran out of money or you just got tired of dealing with the ridiculousness associated with trying to get a woman to cooperate with you just for the purposes of you being able to raise your sons, okay, or daughters. All right. Now, as I said before, I'm a dad. My greatest title is being dad. I enjoy being a dad. And at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters in your legacy is your children, is your living legacy. Somebody type living legacy in the chat room. These are my two oldest sons. This is at my induction into the Hall of Fame at Southern University. This young man dressed in black to my right, or on the picture to my right, is my oldest son, Dennis Amon-Ra Sperling. And the young man here to the left is Roman Alexander Sperling, also known as the Crimson Son. And of course, this is me at the banquet at Southern University being nominated into the Hall of Fame. Now, some of you all know that I have another son, Elijah. That's my little light-skinned son. Shout out to all the light-skinned brothers. He and I did some light-skin problem solving while he was here. He's a. I have a lot of fun with my children. I definitely, at this age, I crack a lot of jokes. I've always been a very humorous person, but I'm gonna say this. I want y'all to hear me, and this is about when it's about to get offensive. My children fear me. My children fear me. Let me say that again. Okay, my children fear me. They fear the fact that I will discipline them with corporal punishment. They fear the fact that I will raise my voice and yell loud at them. They fear repercussions if they don't follow my instructions, or they demonstrate a lack of respect, or they are in some way inviolative or violate some of the rules that I have for how they should comport themselves as young men. So my children fear me. Somebody type fear in the chat room. I'm giving you the game now. You guys might not like to hear it, and I'm explaining to you, my children fear me. They fear me. And that fear that they have of me is what causes for them to stay in line when they otherwise would do something that would be detrimental to themselves or to my home or to their legacy. See, fear of your father is going to stop that 2-year-old child from running in the middle of the street when the car is coming. Fear of what your father is going to do to you will stop you from sneaking out the house at 15 years old. Fear of what father will do to you will cause for you to respect your mother, even when she's talking out the side of her neck and being disrespectful herself. And that same fear for authority will carry over into adulthood and cause for your children to be able to survive encounters with police officers and keep their cool. See, the authority is what they fear. And a healthy fear for authority will keep you alive in a society that is dominated by rules and governed by authority, whether you like it or not. That police officer who pulls you over in the middle of the night with the badge and the gun can very well take your life if he fears for his life. If you lose your cool, he will call for other men with little blue suits on and badges and guns, and they will beat you, handcuff you, and throw you in the back of a police car if they don't unalive you first. And thereafter, they will be awarded for unaliving you with a paid vacation, 6 months off. More likely than not, they'll come back in and they will get a raise. This is what happens when you don't fear authority. Now, some of you are saying, well, I don't like the word fear. I don't care. Because the other thing you have to understand is that children have underdeveloped brains. You are sitting here trying to rationalize with a 6-year-old. You are sitting here trying to rationalize with a 6-year-old and explain to the 6-year-old why they shouldn't eat ice cream before dinner. You and your grown adult self are trying to rationalize with a tyrant, because that's all children are. Children are tyrants. They think like tyrants. They will do anything they get away with, they can get away with. And if they don't fear any repercussions, then, well, they're going to do it. And one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, your kids will be cussing you out in front of your house for all your neighbors to see. And so when you're dealing with people who are tyrants, even in big person world, you have to instill the fear of God in them. Otherwise, they'll run all over you. Shout out to Johnny Harris. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. So my children fear me. And the reason they fear me is because I want them to fear me. They fear me because of repercussions. They fear my voice yelling. I even had a conversation with my youngest son. I asked Elijah, who's 8 years old, and he comes and goes. He lives in another country. Specifically, he lives in Jamaica with his mother, and we're still working out the issues. He was born out of wedlock, so because of that, I did not have the rights that a father who has his children with a woman he's married to. I literally had to fight to prove paternity, fight for custody, and that takes some time. 6 months, 2 years, 3 years. That's nothing to a courtroom. But I had to do that. And that is the mistake of having children outside of wedlock. You have less rights. Now, some will say, well, if she gets pregnant during the marriage, you have rights. But what if the child is not yours? You're still obligated to pay for child support. It's a jacked up system. But the bottom line is, I had to have a conversation with him and explain to him, because he had expressed to his mother that he didn't understand why daddy yells at him. And so his most recent visit, I said, so son, if I said, you don't like me yelling, if I said, hey son, got up real close, hey son, can you please, if you don't mind, you mind cleaning your room and then brushing your teeth and go to sleep? I certainly would appreciate if you did that. That would make me very happy if you would just, make your bed in the morning and eat all your vegetables, and, try not to talk so loud when daddy is sleeping. I would appreciate that. And, that'd make me very happy. And I asked him that question in that manner. And I said, son, would you adhere to my request if I said that? He said, no. I said, well, what would you do? He said, I'd probably laugh. The 8-year-old said that. And I said, so now do you understand why I yell at you? Like a Marine Corps staff sergeant to get you to do what you need to get done? He said, yeah, I understand. And my other sons understand that too, because in raising them and explaining to them what I'm doing, I'm teaching them how to be the best fathers that they can be. You can't negotiate with a tyrant. And the minute you start trying to rationalize with a child, you're basically negotiating with a tyrant. And that's going to fail. I am not my children's friend. Listen to me. I am not my son's friends. They understand I'm not their friend. I'm their provider. I'm the person they call when they need something. I'm the person they call in an emergency. I am here only to protect them until they can protect themselves. Now, how does that work? So we've talked about the concept of fear. How do you make your children fear you? Well, discipline will do that. We've talked about the mind, what you're dealing with, the tyrant. It doesn't matter what they think. It only matters what you think. And you, as a parent, should have already charted a course for what you want for your children, even before they were born. People folly into parenthood by happenstance without any considerable thought. You put more decision making into a house that you intend to buy than you do with how you're going to raise your kids. Now, the other thing you have to understand, fellas, and whoever's listening, there's a big sacrifice that goes along with being a father that matters. See, I am not one of these fathers that tell my children to do something and then don't throw any resources behind that. If I, for instance, and I'm referring to my oldest son, if I tell my oldest son, I need you to get higher score on the SAT, then I am going to sacrifice my time, energy, and money and send him to a tutoring session or SAT tutoring, no matter what the cost. I literally spent nearly $10,000 sending my son to tutoring about a year ago at a place here in one of the neighboring towns so that he can increase his SAT score. And it worked. It got him up 300 points. And that should pretty much guarantee to get him into one of the local universities here in Houston without any issues. And so not only am I willing to give you instructions and tell you what to do, but I'm also willing to make that sacrifice. See, that's the thing. You can't be one of these fathers that puts rules and regulations down on your children and say, do it because I say so, and then think there's going to be a great relationship towards the end if you're not willing to sacrifice. So you basically just putting all that pressure on these kids with no resources behind them. That's like asking somebody to run you down to the gas station, or run you down to help you run your errands, and they're not giving you any gas. These are all my children right here, all my sons. My oldest is 17, youngest is 8, middle son is 14 to be 15. Handsome boys, very different personalities. You see us dressed in our jiu-jitsu regalia. My oldest son is actually higher ranked than me. My youngest son, they've both been rolling longer than I have. And my youngest son, my middle son, I should say, and my oldest son have been rolling. And my youngest son is just starting off. He just got his second stripe. So, in different situations, two different moms. But the main thing is, fam, you got to put forth the resource. You can't just be talking about it. You got to be about it. And that's why I tell you fellas to wait until you get older to have children so you can have the time and resources to raise these children. Somebody type is greater later in the chat room. And look, let me tell y'all something, man. See, I could be on here talking about Kamala Harris. I could be on here, talking about these lovely ladies. And this place would be 900 deep. You understand? Here I am teaching you brothers how to be better fathers. I don't see any comments popping. I definitely don't see any super chats, no cash apps, nothing like that. This is actually helping you become a better man. This is something that you will remember and use for the rest of your life. Treat me like you treat some of these other folk who come in here talking about this sensational stuff. You see, don't take me for granted. And I'm just keeping it 100 with y'all. Don't take me for granted. Subscribe to my channel. Every night, every day, I come in and out and give you all information that you may not have ever been exposed to, because the truth is, many of y'all didn't grow up with dads. Many of y'all didn't even have the caliber of father that you needed to have so that you could replicate yourself. Some of you all don't even know your fathers. But when I look at my subscriber count, it's like I got 30% of the people who don't even subscribe. You just eavesdropping. I'm not going to call you hate watchers, but you don't want to commit. And yeah, some people will say those are just vanity numbers. But at the end of the day, show me the respect that I show you by coming here every night, even if it's from my backyard, giving you all the benefit of my wisdom and my time. Now, I ain't even talking about the super chats at this point. I'm talking about the participation. I want to see, but that's what I'm talking about too. Actually, matter of fact, pay me. As a matter of fact, as Kevin Samuels used to say, quality is something you should pay for, and you're not going to get this level of quality anywhere. There's a lot of people on the internet, but nobody is specifically targeting black men and uplifting black men. They uplift black people. They uplift this, that, and the other. We know the lovely ladies always have their advocates, but nobody else is doing what I'm doing. And it's unfortunate that, it's unfortunate, I'm going to say it, that a lot of times we get a lot of black American women who have come in and invaded this space, and they have more subscribers, more viewership. They have more cash apps coming in. They have more. And so on the outside looking in, you would say, okay, well, this is just this is moderate sized channel. It's not a huge channel. And I'm the one giving you the substance. If you listen to what these ladies are saying, oftentimes they will take information from the black manosphere and they will recycle that information. And then they'll say the same thing we've been saying for years. And you all will give them the credit. You like that, because at the end of the day, brothers, and I talked to my my lady about this, at the end of the day, your queen mother goddess simp chip is still activated. Many of you all wouldn't even, you hearing what I'm saying, but you'd have to hear it from a woman to believe it. I'm telling you, you got to make your children fear you to save their lives and force them to respect authority. Nobody's going to tell you that. I'm telling you, if you want your children, and I hadn't got to this yet, but if you want your children not to join the Rainbow Coalition, then you got to instill masculinity in them from the beginning. It has to be a way of life. And the only way you can do that is you have to do masculine things. All the time you see me having my sons lifting weights. You see me taking them to Shotokan. You see me letting their instructor yell at them and scream at them and forcing them to have to control their emotions. That's going to stop them from snapping on their boss. That's going to stop them from snapping on a police officer or a judge. That's going to stop them from snapping on their woman when she get out of pocket with them. They will be able to control their emotions. On top of that, the masculinity training, lifting weights, being rewarded for being strong. When do we do that? Where do we do that now in modern society? What other father do you see? I've had my sons even before they could lift weights or thought they were, or even were strong enough to do anything substantial. I had them lifting weights because a child's mind, as it thinketh, so it think it does. So what is that? What I'm trying to explain is, if you make a boy think he's doing something, then in his mind, he's doing it. So that's why I had him lift. It might have been 2 pounds, but they thought they were lifting something heavy and they were trying to do it. And so now 10 years later, I got a 16-year-old, 17-year-old son that can bench press 280 pounds, and he only weighs 171 pounds. So he's stronger than most grown men. And that is from the mind of his father. And I'm giving you all this. I'm giving you these gems, and you all don't treat me right. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. I see my numbers. I see my numbers, and I see what other people's numbers are. I know that I have an impact because when I leave my house, it never fails. There's always someone, hey man, keep doing what you're doing. Brother, I appreciate you. 3 or 4 people will approach me anytime I'm out and about, especially you brothers. I know you brothers are watching. I know you're listening, brothers. You see me out and about in the street. Hey, what's up? You see me at the airport. One cat caught me in the bathroom at Houston Intercontinental and wanted to give me a shout out. I'm down in the Dominican Republic. Hey, what's up, brother? I know you all reap the benefit of this wisdom and me exposing myself. Look how hard this is to become a public figure, to be out here telling it's difficult, but I do it because I love you. I do it because I want to see you ball. I do it because I want to see black men better. So you all need to support me like you support those folks with the shenanigans going on. Those ones that all they do is reviews of other video. That's in the YouTube industry, that's a gimmick. People that make comments on other people's videos, there's no originality in that. They're basically just giving you an opinion on somebody else's content. I'm actually making content. I'm a content reviewer. I'm a content creator. Those people are content reviewers. I want you to think about the quality. So there's no gimmicky stuff. You don't see any fancy lights behind me. It's just one black man and a microphone. And I got a stadium full of black men who come to this page, 70,000 black men. So what does that tell you? That tells you I'm feeding the masses with something that's substantial. And I'm proud of the work that I do, and I'll stand on that. I stand on that. Everything I give you all is thoughtful and well thought. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with these lessons. But you all make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the membership. And if you feel so inclined, commit to the Cash App, whatever you feel is appropriate. Commit to the Super Chat. I'll be right back. I got to get my jelly jar of water because my throat's getting dry. Hallelujah. My throat is dry. So let me take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Podcast, click your mouse pad. Yeah, we out back. Hit the like, hit subscribe. Don't just hate watch cause we outside. Let them hate watch. Go and play pop. We just lay back. He don't play that. We on playback. We on playback. We go way back. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast, bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. Black man, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast, bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. This is Dennis Berlin Podcast. Don't just hate watch, hit subscribe and let them know we outside. Don't hold hate, donate. Super chat, cash app. Put something in the collection plate. Church.
I want y'all to make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. And we're going to kind of get back to what we like to do over here, man. I need y'all to check in at a certain point when it's time to check in. I need to checking in to start happening again. We got to go ahead and get this algorithm pumping. Big shout out to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App. Big shout out to TIQS who just gifted 5 Dennis Berlin podcast memberships. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate that. Just for my sense, thank you for the $10 super sticker, bro. I appreciate you. And then also Deep State 4 of God, fear of God and daddy is beginning of common sense and wisdom. I agree with that. Joe Hen 49 said you drop gems. Jade Lay said good to meet today at the bank. Hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, man, good to meet you too, man. That's what I'm talking about, bro. I met this brother at the bank today, man. Like I say, bro, all praises to the Most High, because that's where all wisdom comes from, man. Thank you so much, man. It's good seeing you, man. And I always have great interactions when I'm out in public because I'm respectful, and people respect me because I do respectable stuff. But here's the thing, fam. I want to continue forward with the podcast. And again, if at some point you feel as though you heard something that you need to hear that touched you, then you should contribute to the super chat. And you should also subscribe to the channel. There's no reason I shouldn't have 150,000 subscribers with all these yahoos and crazy people. Y'all out here listening to people with criminal records. You see what I mean? Who are giving you all sorts of bad advice. They don't have kids. They got, and if you guys, some of these people that y'all love so much, I've pulled their records. I have a whole troll file. Okay, an electronic file with all their criminal records and their prison records. And these people that you all look up to, that you revere, if you knew the dirt that they had on them, you would be disgusted by them. Some of them you would never be able to listen to them again. None of my business. I believe in giving folks second chances. That's why I don't put their business out in the street. But they should be wary, leave me alone, because I already know about them. Nevertheless, that's my warning. So you better keep my name out your mouth. Uncle D is not playing. I don't play right. Okay. But nevertheless, so the big elephant in the room is this. How do you stop this onslaught of the effeminization of black children? How do you specifically black men, how do you stop the effeminization of young black boys? And I hinted at it before the break. Okay, we are already dealing with a situation where you have something called environmental estrogen. Somebody type environmental estrogen in the chat room. Somebody type environmental estrogen. And see, this is something that Dr. Umar Johnson should be doing. This is what he needs to be talking about, not talking about, buttered queens. What did he say? Not buttered pop queens and his chocolate. He needs to talk about something serious. Environmental estrogens come from PCPs. They also come from DDT. When it breaks down in the environment, it ends up in the soil. It ends up in the water. And what that does is it basically is consumed by the human body and it turns into estrogen. Okay. And so when you expose the hormone estrogen, and many of you who taken basic biology and anatomy, you understand that the body has different hormonal responses. Tissue has different responses to the chemicals that are introduced into the body. At a certain stage of a young man's life, you have your secondary male characteristics, okay? And those come about because your testes begin to produce testosterone, and other organisms in your body organs begin to produce testosterone. And so you get hair under your arms, you get mustaches, you get your body begins to change. So what happens when you have environmental estrogen in the system and it begins to infiltrate human bodies? Well, as far as men are concerned, it makes you more female-like. You see a lot of young men out there and they have those male breasts. And those are, they basically have breasts that look like they're men, of course, but then at the nipple area, they bulge out, they're swollen. And that has a lot to do with estrogen. And if you look into some of the foods that they eat as children, especially milk, right? So if you're feeding your children whole D milk and vitamin D milk and cow milk, which has been shot up with estrogen because that's the beef, the cows are eating all this grain, and your children they're getting a shot of estrogen, a minute shot of estrogen every day as children, and that begins to absorb into their body, and it creates secondary female characteristics in men. That's why you have a lot of men who are overweight. They have a lot of men. And I'm not talking about overweight like Uncle D, where you actually strong. I'm talking about men who are overweight and soft and mushy. You see, that's why they have a lot of emotional issues. Testosterone is like, it's the food of the gods. It does so many great things for the body. And so when there's a man who has a deficit of it, then he's going to act more irrational. He's going to be more emotional. He's going to have a softer body. And the generation of children, young men who are coming up behind, they have less testosterone than the men who came before them. The average 18-year-old boy has less testosterone than a 50, 60-year-old man who was born in a different generation, because, and I theorize that it's because that older man has had less exposure to estrogen in his formative years when he was forming. And so what that means is a lot of these young men they are not, hormonally speaking, they are not fully balanced the way they should be. So what do you do with that? How do you fight the environment like that? Well, one of the things that I did is I began to introduce my sons to weightlifting very early, because in building muscles, especially when it comes to using the major muscles in the body, especially squats, it creates more testosterone. The other thing I did is I had them do that on a regular basis. In addition to that, and my lady will tell you this, we had a very limited diet. Here in my house, my boys, for the most part, we only ate meat and vegetables. There was no juice, there was no sweets. And even now, any sweets that we have are usually things that my family will make. Shout out to the Crimson Sun. He actually likes to bake. So the Crimson Sun actually he doesn't cook, but he likes to bake brownies. But everything is made from scratch. My lady makes everything from scratch. And so any sweets that we have are made here. But even before she arrived and came into our lives, there was no sweets in the house, no potato chips, no juice, all of that sugary stuff. It was basically only food they ate was healthy food that could be easily processed. And that's why they look the way they do. That's why both of them have less than 10% body fat, last I can check. You see what I mean? So, what I'm saying is, golly, shout out to Mr. Booker. My goodness. Wow. Big shout out to you, man. You just sent me $2,512 on the Cash App. Holy smokes. Shout out to you, Mr. Booker. Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right, hold on a minute. What are you doing out there? Big shout out to you. Thank you so much. I'm saying, I don't want to put personal name on it. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. You're looking out. Thank you so much, man. Big shout out to you. We're gonna dedicate a whole video to that, man. But anyway, back to the conversation. So, understanding what the environment is and what we're dealing with, you have to take steps to adapt. We have young boys who are growing up, who are drinking milk, who are not lifting weights, and you see them. I see these young kids, and you can't just allow chance to happen. You've actually got to dedicate your time to raising your children. You got to put effort in it if you want to see results. So another concept let me finish up on the testosterone. So we eat right. We don't eat everything. There's no ice cream in the house. Very rarely do we have any sweets in the house. There's meat, there's vegetables, there's very simple food. And we lived like that for 10 years before my lovely wife showed up and start cooking all this good cooking that you guys see me. We pretty much ate the same thing every day. And we practice Shotokan, and we practice jujitsu, and they practice Kempo karate, and they box. And our activities in this household were based around masculine tasks, even to the point where I would take my sons on a Sunday. I would take them out to the park and we would shoot a bow and arrow. Not because I thought they were going to be proficient and be able to kill deer, but it was a masculine thing. You see, as 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old children having been disciplined through martial arts, I could trust the fact that, hey, I could give this 7-year-old child a bow and arrow and give him instructions because he's been listening to instructions from these different teachers and authoritative figures, and he'll follow instructions. The reason that I'm able to teach my children and the reason they're able to excel in school is because they're able to accept instructions. A lot of kids have not been disciplined to the point where they can accept instructions. I have literally farmed out that aspect of fatherhood. I've gotten help. I've gotten a very harsh older man Shotokan instructor. I've gotten a jujitsu instructor. I've got another karate instructor. These young boys have to listen to men telling them what to do every day, how to step, how to move, how to throw a punch, how to kick. And if they don't do it, then, you know, they might get hit with a stick, according to my Shotokan professor, even though sensei, even though I haven't seen them do it. But the threat makes them do it, that fear. And so they practice listening. And so because they practice listening and they've listened and listened and listened, their teachers don't have a problem with them. They can take instructions. Learning to listen and obey is an art. Many of you can't listen. If I give you instructions right now, you one ear and out the other because you haven't learned how to listen. Okay? You haven't learned how to listen. And your children fall short because of that. Because if you can teach a child how to listen and absorb information, then you can you can teach them algebra, you can teach them trigonometry, you can take a boy and in 4 months help him get a 300 point increase on the SAT. This is what I've trained my sons to do. Okay. Now, the other thing is, and we talked about masculinity and we talked about how I train them and how they've been taught and how forcing them to have to adhere to the instructions of other strong men helps them, number one, control their emotions, but also it enhances their ability to learn. Now, some of the other things that I've done with my sons is, and I kind of alluded to this before, all of our activities, well, let me say it like this. For the most part, the average American, your day is planned around the meal that you're going to eat. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying that on Christmas, or I'm sorry, on Thanksgiving, it's about a turkey. It's not about Thanksgiving for the life that you live. It's about the turkey. The turkey is mentioned more than the thanks. Shout out to James Mosley. Tell me I'm lying. On Christmas, for you all who eating pork, right? It's about how big the ham is going to be and who's going to make the potato salad. During a regular week, what are we going to eat tonight? What are we eating for lunch? That's what your day is based around. And you wonder why we're so fat. You wonder why your boys are sitting around playing video games until it's time to eat. So let's change that paradigm. What if I said, okay, boys, it's Sunday, we went to church. This afternoon, we're going to go to the park and we're going to shoot bow and arrows. Or this afternoon, we're going to go to the park. I got you guys some army fatigues. We're going to walk into the local forest. We're going to run into the local forest. And I'm going to teach you all how to track deer. I'm going to teach you all how to tell time by looking at the sky. I'm going to teach you how to know the difference between the deciduous forest and the coniferous forest. You see, that's what our Sunday is based around, not about what we're going to have for Sunday dinner. So these are the things you have to do. And something else, somebody write this in the chat room, 4, 5, 14, 15. 4, 5, 4 and 5, 14 and 15. 4 and 5, 14 and 15. Dads, I want all my dads. 4, 5, 14, 15. Write that in the chat room. 4, 5, 14, and 15. Come on. I need participation. 4, 5, 14, 15. 4 and 5, 14 and 15. I did not spend a whole lot of time with my children before they turned 4 or 5 years old. They, for the most part, were at their mother's heel. They were on her hip. They would follow her to the bathroom. You know, women who've had children, you know, you have no privacy. You have no privacy. Your children will follow you into the bathroom. You might have the worst case of diarrhea, but that three-year-old child, 1, 2, 3-year-old child will crawl and follow you, won't let you go, drool dripping off the mouth. They always want something, okay? For the most part, Dad, when a child is 1, 2, or 3 years old, it's perfectly acceptable for you to say, okay, hey, little boy, a little girl, all right, go back to your mom. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. There's really nothing you can do with that child. That child is going to follow mom around. Don't feel bad. It's not that the child doesn't love you. They just don't see the value in you yet. The father's job is literally to pry those children away from their mom at about 4 or 5. Okay? So that child can learn to be independent. Otherwise, when the child gets 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and they still on mommy's hip, it goes to the detriment of the child. It makes you know, the mom has no life. So your job as dad is at about 4 or 5 to snatch that child away from mom and start doing other stuff. That doesn't mean you don't play with your children and you interact with them when they're little, 1, 2, 3, 4, but they don't really want you. Let's just keep it 100. You really don't serve a purpose. You're just the guy that comes home and passes gas and kicks his shoes off in the middle of the floor. That's you. But at about the one they like, that makes them smile, but still they want mom because mom is soft. Mom was the one who has the food. Mom treats them nice. She gives them a lot of attention. But at about 4 or 5 years old, that's when your sons need you. That's when your daughters need you, especially your sons, though, because that's what we're talking about. From about 4 to 5 years old till about 14 to 15, that's your time to shine, fellas. Because after those children turn 14 to 15, their friends have their ear. They no longer see you as their knight in shining armor. They love you. They respect you, especially if you've done it right. But you have about a 10-year time stretch to be a parent. That's it. So when people say, I'll raise you from 18 years old, nah, mom had them from about 1 to 4, from when they're born to about 4 or 5. Dad's time is from about 4 or 5 years old to 14 to 15. And after that, they belong to their friends. So you want to run that marathon / sprint as hard and fast as you can and do everything you can. That's when you teach them how to ride a bike. That's when you teach them how to throw a ball. That's when you teach them how to be disciplined. That's when you involve them in all these extracurricular activities. That's when you teach them how to listen. Those years are the most important years because after that, they're for the most part grown. They're done with you. They'll come back to you when they get a little older, right? If you're a good father. And then also at about 14 to 15, there's no need to continue instilling the fear in your children if you've done it right. If you did what you were supposed to do, that's when your children reach a certain level of understanding, and then they begin to understand why you did what you did. Because see, at that point, they can look back at themselves and they can look back at younger children and say, darn, that child is spoiled. Darn, that child has no discipline. There's oftentimes when my sons and I are out and about in public in restaurants, and we'll see bad kids jumping up and down and doing stuff. And I'll say, look at them badass kids. Them badass kids, bad kids get my nerves. But I can't. You got somebody type bad kids in the chat room. If you have bad kids, I'm about to get up and leave. Okay, I'm out of here. I am not. I'm gone. All right. And when I'm in public places, and some bad kids, oh no. And my children now see The difference between how they behave themselves and how I did. Have you ever been on an airplane with some bad kids? Yelling and screaming and jumping. I was on an airplane flight. Lord knows I hate flying coaches. Sometimes they just run out of kids. They run out of space. So they got kids. His mama and his daddy is sitting there. He's sitting in one seat with the girl children. The other one's sitting in the back. The kids jumping. I'm like, oh my God. I would never allow my children to behave that way. Well, I taught my children early on, you respect other people. On these planes especially. You $36,000, 36,000 feet in the air, flying at 600 miles an hour in an aluminum tube through the sky. The last thing people want to hear is your loud children. In fact, with your little bag, you walk straight down that aisle. I'm going to be straight behind you. You don't turn left or right because you can hit somebody in the head as you walking down the aisle. These basic things. And I could talk to you indefinitely about spatial recognition and giving people space. The sign of a bad child, an untrained child, is when they're in line and they get right up on somebody who they don't know. That's a sign that they have no understanding of spatial recognition and no boundaries instilled in their family. That's another sign. But as I said before, what you want to do is focus on those years from 14, 15. And as the Bible says, you bring a child up in the way you want them to be. I give people an example of these two trees I have in my front yard. Back around about 20 years ago now, there were two trees. They were identical, you know, they look the same. Okay. The trees looked the same. They were identical. And man, I mean, golly, one went to the left, the other one went to the right. What happened? Well, the metal pole on the tree fell off, and I didn't focus on it or anything like that. You see, I didn't focus on that tree. My man Donnell said that money was, but give me that money back. My man, that was a mistake. You was only trying to give me $5. Okay, brother, hold on a minute, baby. I don't want you to. I was thrilled that you was gonna give it to me, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it back to you. Let me see how I can refund this to you. Okay, refund request. I'm sending it back to you. Okay, brother Booker, I'm sending it back to you right now, baby. I want you to be able to pay that rent in that house note, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna put you, look, see, you sent, look at that. All right, you got your money back, okay, baby? I sent it back to you, okay? So yeah, give me my $5 though. I want my $5. I sent your money back to you. I think it should have went back. Review refund request. I sent it back. Okay, you should get your $2,000. I thought you had sent me $2,512. I'm like, Lord Jesus, am I that excited? But anyway, yeah, man, yeah. There you go. You should get it. Yeah, I know. I just sent it back to you, baby. Let me see. Refunded. It says refunded. Look here. Look at that. Refunded. Okay? I sent it back to you. You should be able to see that. Okay? Yeah, I appreciate that. That was a good thrill. I'm going to take my rock and roll back. Please hit me up. I can't afford that. Yeah, I just sent it back to you, Donnell. You just got it back. It's been refunded. So, yeah, look, see that? Look at that. It's been refunded. Okay, but let's get back to the broadcast. So I appreciate. I figured that was a mistake, but I'm glad you asked for it. I should have. You know what I should have did? I just should have got rid of, just went off the show real quick, and I'd have went and got me another pair of alligators. Just kidding, baby. No, it's all good. But back to what I was saying. So, 4, 5 years old, 14 to 15, those are the time periods you need to focus on your children. All right, and you need to instill in them everything you did. If you don't straighten out what goes on, just like this tree in my front yard is gonna go crooked, and you're gonna have one straight and one crooked. You got to focus on them. You got to spend that time, that energy, that money on raising those kids was important. And we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. Y'all hit the #1 button. Uncle D will be right back. Yeah, matter of fact, I got something for y'all, baby. I got a little video for you, man. We'll be right back.
There you go. I like that clap. Woo! Not bad to be light skin, huh?
Whoop, yeah. Welcome back. So what we're talking about today is being a black father and the whole notion that black fathers matter. Now, again, earlier I alluded to the fact that, hold on, look what I got. See, this is what I'm talking about. See that? I could be here eating this homemade sushi that my lovely, beautiful fiance / wife / girlfriend / low carb. I could be eating that instead of fooling around with you people. Okay, but anyway, let me get back to the conversation. Man, golly, I'm hungry now. Give me something to eat. Anyway, so shout out to my lovely wife. But fam, I done lost my train of thought. What was I about to talk about? I done lost my train of thought. By the way, oh yeah, that's right. Dealing with these crazy women. That's right. Somebody type, no, don't say that. So somebody type crazy women in the chat room. Look, if you got a partner, you done pick this woman and she hard to deal with, Lord Jesus. You got to, first of all, it's nearly impossible to raise children if you don't have a cooperative co-parent. Okay, it's nearly impossible to do that. If you got a crazy woman and she's selfish and self-centered and egotistical and she calls herself wants to punish you, you can't deal with her. She holding those kids hostage for more child support. She got every new boyfriend she got got your kids calling him daddy. You just picked the bad one. Part of the reason why a lot of these broads are going over, a lot of these men are going overseas to get women who are overseas because they have their own crazy, but it's not this kind of mechanized crazy. It's not this kind of straight off the cliff crazy. Okay. And so because of that, you're going to hit a bump in the road. Now, because I've had to deal with crazy, somebody type Uncle D has looked crazy in the eye. I've looked crazy in the eye and I said, yeah, you crazy. And I've dealt with it. One of the things I did, praise God, with my lovely lady of an ex-wife, nothing bad to say about her at all, ever, okay, is that I use trinkets and whatnot to keep her happy so I could spend more time with my children. You guys might be saying, well, how did you do that? Well, it was a conflict, and I talk about this in my books, and you guys need to buy my books. I will be at the, what is it called? The Black Manosphere Conclave 4.0, and I'll be selling books. But one of the things I did in order to allow me to spend more time with my children is I tamed that shrew. Okay, you guys ever heard taming of the shrew? And I'm like, hey boys, why don't you buy your mother a little gift or something like that and take it to her? Never was directly from me. Okay, but always I would use my sons, take her some flowers for her birthday, take her some flowers for Valentine's Day, buy her a card, buy her a little dress, buy her some jewelry. I remember one time I was in the Galleria buying this gal $1,000 pair of shoes. But what was the point of doing that? Why did I do that? Not because I liked my ex-wife by any means, praise God. Even though she's a wonderful human being, praise God. Shout out to co-parenting with the Sperlings. Y'all should check the show out. But I did that to pacify her. So when I say, hey, can I pick the kids up from school? I know it's your time to have custody, but I only get them 3 weekends out the month, but let me pick the boys up from school and I'll take them to jujitsu, or I'll pick them up. So now, even though she has possession from Sunday at 6 p.m. to Friday at 6 p.m., and I'm not even supposed to see them, but because I'm buying her little gifts, because I'm buying her little things and I'm giving it to them to give to her, she's getting what she wants. So it was a roundabout way of saying, hey, look, I'm scratching your back. You let me spend time with my children. At the end of the day, we know these lovely ladies are holding these kids for ransom, don't we? We know they want money, right? You got to give them gifts. You shouldn't have. You ran up in there, you're going to be paying for that for the rest of your life. So that's what I did. Unfortunately, I got tired of it. Somebody said bribery. Yeah, well, that's how you deal with people. You got to bribe them sometimes. If you fear don't work, when you're dealing with a tyrant, you got to buy them. You got to pay off the locals. Shout out to all the military veterans who did time in Afghanistan. You got to pay the local war chiefs off, right? That's what I was doing. Give her a list, give her a little of that, buy a little gift. I think I bought her some red bottoms once just to keep her happy. Because as long as I was allowed to pick up remember, you got 10 years from about 4 to 5, 14 to 15. The kids don't care that the judge said she had possession. All they know is you weren't there. So I had to pay. I had to buy gifts and do nice things and cooperate and smile when I didn't want to smile. And I did what I had to do. And so now I have a great relationship, at least with my 2 older kids. And I'm doing the same thing for my youngest son. That's a different situation because we got somebody, and I done got to the point I don't feel like paying these war chiefs anymore. You understand? And so now I'm just going to use the legal system. Now, if I was willing to pay these war chiefs, then I'm sure I would see all my children a lot more. But now it's like, hell with that. I don't have the time for that. And see, when you do that and you constantly giving this woman who used to be with you money or whatever through your children, you can't have a new woman in your relationship. You can't bring another woman because it looked like that new woman, there's another woman sniffing around that throne. And no queen wants to sit on the throne that another queen is sitting on. Okay? So I had to cut all of that out just so I could make way for a new healthy relationship. But I did what I had to do for 10 years until my sons got old enough where they recognized the value of dad, what dad did, the sacrifices dad made. And and I spent the time with them. See, I was the one picking them up from school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and taking them to their mother's house afterwards. See, I did that. I did that because I'm like, hey, if you want me to keep buying you these gifts, let me take these kids to school. And so what does that mean? You pick the kids up at 4 o'clock. You got them both in the car by 4:45, 5 o'clock. Practice starts at 5:30. It's a 30-minute ride to wherever you're going. You get a chance to interact with your children for that 30 minutes. Even when they're in the car, you can talk to them. How was school? How's things going? Talk to them about issues that they're dealing with. And then you sit there and watch them practice for an hour, and then you got 30 minutes when you're taking them back to wherever mom is, wherever her house is. And so I get an hour a day every day with my kids. That's more time than some of you parents spend with your kids. And I get my weekends. And I get a chance to have them and I talking. I became a better father when I was isolated with my children because I didn't have the interference of mom. See, the kids will typically naturally gravitate towards mom. They'll gravitate towards mom. And the reason they'll gravitate towards mom is because they love mom. Mom is soft and sweet and nice. But the problem is after about 14 to 15 years of that, they get tired of mom, especially boys. Ladies, you moms who are listening to this, your sons will eventually get tired of you. Just like your baby daddy. Just like your baby daddy. They tired of hearing you're nagging and you're cackling and do this and do that and you don't love me and all the shame and the guilt. They get tired of hearing you. That's why they zone you out. And I know that's hard for women to hear, but they get tired of you. But see, and then when they get tired of you and you ready to punch them in the throat, Then you want to go dump them off on dad and tell him to fix the problem of this 16-year-old boy who's smoking weed, getting tattoos, ditching school, fighting, and got a few pregnancy scares. It's too late. How many of you men have had women alienate you as a father? And then when he hit high school and he started acting all mannish and manly, then she want to go dump him off on your front door with you and your new woman after you done gave up and moved on and told her, just catch me when you get 18. How many of y'all have heard that or dealt with that? Many of you all have, haven't you? He get too big for his britches. She's tired of dealing with him. He's now 16 years old and he's a man. He built tall like a man, and she can't scare him anymore. They to the point now she might even be putting hands on your son, emasculating him, calling him all sorts of names, and it gets to be too overwhelming for him, for her, and so she start dumping him off at your house. You need to go live with your daddy. Well, what happened between ages 0 to 16? That's when he should have been living here. But at that point, that 10-year time period between 4 and 14, and 5 and 15, it's too late. And that's why we have a whole generation of young men that feel unloved and unfathered, and a whole bunch of black women, especially, who fail their sons. Selfishness. So what did I do? The small sacrifice I made because I saw it coming. Let me go buy this broad a dress. Let me go take her to get her some red bottoms. Make sure these little dudes bring her some little $10, $20 roses. Make sure they take her a Christmas present. We're going to keep her happy. That's the sacrifice that I made. These are my children. It presented me with an opportunity to build and develop a relationship with my children, my sons, take them to the different events and whatnot that I wanted to take them to be around these other very strong masculine men who could also help me turn my sons into men. That's the thoughtfulness that I put in the fatherhood, in the circumstances. No situation is perfect, but you have to work with what you had. Now, are you guys getting gems? Is that good information that you all are receiving? Huh? If it's good information, you should contribute to the super chat, fam. Again, I shouldn't have to have this conversation. If it's good information, y'all should join the membership. If it's good information, you should subscribe to the channel. Don't be cheap with Uncle D. Don't be cheap with me. Okay? Now, we're going to take a little halftime break, and I'm going to present y'all, but I want y'all to think about that, man. You're not getting this anywhere else. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. I hope that's helped y'all. You know, we'll be right back. Y'all hang in there. You understand what I'm saying? Hate me all you want to, baby. I don't mind hating me. Hate all you can. Let me go the other way. Hate all you can. Hate everything. But I'm gonna still make you look good. Black men winning. Okay? Come on. Somebody type that in the chat room. Black men winning. Okay? Because that's just what's happening. We are winning.
We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. Yeah. We winning. We winning. We winning. I know they hating out here. Yeah. I know they mad. They all in their feelings. But baby, I don't care. She calling the police on me and everything. Yeah. Somebody need to get on the phone, call my attorney. Dealing with these hard-headed hoes who ain't learning. Acting all ignorant like a motherfucking menace. She better bundle up, cause bitches about to be winner. Niggas acting timid, why you think she treat a nigga so bad? Turn her only fucking son into a killer. Can't even distinguish who the women, who the bitches. She broke my nigga, even Jesus can't fix it. Navajo nigga got a man up in prison, but quick to tell you, get your bag up, bitch, quit it. Ever heard of Dennis? Yes sir, get your spurling. We in court early, don't be acting all girly. Keep that same energy, don't need any men. You the man, you the father, you the face of many men. Yep, Minnie Rippleton, taking L's your whole life. While the passport bros taking off the next flight. Some thick, something feminine, rubbing on my shoulders. Be a cold day in hell, Blizzard King try to tell you. A new world is coming, bitch, you better stop sinning. See, God took Kevin, left your sorry ass with Dennis.
Somebody type of old broad in the chat room. Talking about men, you can't find them. That just means you had your chance, boo. You had your chance. And your chance has passed you by. Your husband done went on to the great beyond. He's not there looking for you no more. You done hit one wall. Somebody type one wall in the chat room. You done hit two walls. Somebody say 3 walls. Yeah.
I want to see you win. And I put pressure on us men to understand how we did not get our masculinity training. And we've been doing our work, okay? But now it's time for you ladies to understand you're going to have to bet on us like you want us to bet on you. I talked to several men this week. I don't just get on here and talk shit. I have men I call around the world and I ask, what do you think about this concept? Level set me. Shout out to brother Dennis Spurley. Dennis, I'm not going to get, well, I don't want to tell people's business, but I'm going to tell you, high value men retire their women or make them come work for them. So ladies, what is it going to take for you to free yourself? Because you and I both know you're dying at these jobs. You're in a toxic.
And it led to the creation of various myths surrounding Black individuals. Black men in specific. They portrayed us as being dangerous, untrustworthy, and intellectually inferior. And over time, these beliefs crystallized into entrenched stereotypes, despite the fact that they bear no connection to reality.
Yes, Lord!
They knew who we were when they brought us over here. They knew about the societies that we created. Hell, some of the chiefs and kings they negotiated with were more intelligent than the slave catchers, had been educated in the universities in Portugal and Spain. Your cop has seen nothing but you being portrayed as thugs and gangsters and killers and deadbeat daddies. He's not gonna think much of you. If those stereotypes are reinforced by the women in your community, he's gonna feel justified in what he does to you. His own women don't like him. That's unheard of. So what do you get? What are the implications of these stereotypes in policing? Proactive stops, which is why Black men are more likely to be stopped without clear justification. It doesn't matter if you got a suit on or if your pants are sagging, whether you got a baseball cap or a cowboy hat. In New York, they used to call it stop and frisk. Oftentimes, they're just baseless suspicion. The mere fact that you're a Black man means you're more likely to be involved in criminal activity. That's in their mind. What's another one? Use of force. They had numerous studies that have shown that police are more likely to use force against Black men compared to men of other races. I don't really have anything else I want to add at this time. Big shout out to my man James Mosley. Thank you much, D. I appreciate what you do. Valuable information. Very difficult relationship with my son. Yeah, I know, man. I wish it could be better, but his mom's interference throughout his upbringing caused this. Well, see, here's the thing, bro. That's why you have people like me. You see, That's why you have so many other men who are on the internet. Again, when I spoke earlier, I explained how the family law system in the United States has really undermined the well-being of men in general, black men in specific. And for the most part, we've been dealing with this since the 60s. White men have recently had to deal with it since the 1990s when the no-fault divorce laws came into place. But for the most part, your son at some point will become a man. And he, like many of these young men who were told by their mothers, shout out to all the young men out here who have realized that it more likely than not wasn't dad's fault. While he left, he just got tired of dealing with mom's mouth. And before he picked her up and threw her out the 3rd floor, 4th floor, 5th floor of your housing project, he decided it's best for him to go on about his business. And that's why he got a new woman and some new kids that seem to have a better life than you. But your son will realize, James, he'll realize what you had to do, maturity, because he's going to have to deal with the same thing that you've had to deal with. So just hang in there, Brother Mosley, man, and I appreciate you for the $9.99 super chat. And you need to understand there's a lot of other people dealing with, a lot of other black men dealing with the same set of circumstances. Big shout out to J Row 49. Thank you so much, fam. Big shout out to my man Charles Faulkner. I see you in the chat room, baby. Woo! Somebody say woo. But other than that, man, I did what I had to do. And I appreciate everybody who came through. It would have been nice to get some more likes and super chats and all that. Yes, but I think this work stands for itself. I think I've given you. Did you guys enjoy it? If you enjoyed it, if you like this sort of broadcast, I know we don't have a whole lot of people here. That may be because of the time, but it also may be because of the subject matter. Being a black father, it matters. Have we learned something tonight? Have we learned something tonight? Somebody type learn ya in the chat room. If we learned something tonight, let me know we learned something. Somebody type learn ya. If you learned something tonight, whether you contributed or not, whether you subscribed or not, let me know you learned something. Did I provoke a thought? Okay. Even in how to deal with these lovely ladies out here who are uncooperative. Very difficult, but you got to make the best out of a bad situation. Did you learn something tonight? Sometimes you got to be nice to that evil broad if you want to see your kids. You the one that laid up with her. At no point did I ask you all to feel sorry for me because I'm the one that laid up with them. I got 2 of them. Ex-wife and the baby mama is not something I shy away with. Okay? You laid up with her. It's your fault. So you got to deal with the consequences. No situation is perfect, but we want to make the best out of these tough situations. And we make those sacrifices. We tuck those egos and we do it for the kids. All right. And if somebody else didn't send me a whole lot of money, y'all got to cut this out. Y'all keep sending me money and asking me to refund it. I ain't refunding not one more super chat. Okay? I ain't refunding no more cash apps. Somebody sent me $2,500. I got a red pair of alligator shoes that I plan to buy with that $2,500, brother. Okay? And you asked me to refund it. You lucky I'm generous. You lucky I ain't one of them foreign dudes over there in somewhere in the overseas. I'd have turned my whole channel off for a couple of months. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate that. Don't ask me for that. I ain't gonna even say how much you gave me. But shout out to the brothers who have contributed to the Cash App over there, man. Y'all got some slippery fingers on the cash. Y'all adding extra zeros and 2s and 1s, and then you turn around and want the money back. I told y'all I'm trying to get me some red alligator shoes. Okay? Uncle D loves his gators. I can't wait to whip. I got some green alligator shoes that I'm gonna wear to the 4.0 Black Manosphere Conference. Somebody type green gators in the chat room. I'm gonna be out there a full-fledged size 15 wearing alligator leprechaun color shoes. Okay, and if I can find me a Cadillac, okay, with some swangers and Vogues on it, with that great, with some green paint, I'm gonna rent that with my green gators. All right. So y'all can't keep asking me to send these super chats and cash apps back. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. I am not refunding not one more cash app. Praise God. Hallelujah. Somebody type praise God in the chat room. Praise God. That's like putting the money in the collection plate, then say, Pastor, I think I gave you too many ones. No, you didn't. You gave me the number of ones that the Lord wanted you to give me, and I'm going to do the Lord's work and hold on to him. Hallelujah. That's right. I need to get me some green gators. Y'all need to up these super chats. But anyway, like I said, fam, if you got a difficult partner, you just have to work with the situation. And at the end of the day, if your baby mama shows up or your son shows up at the front door at 16 years old, you can't turn your son away. That's your time. And it may be difficult. It's going to be hard, but you got to deal with it. If that child's mother purposely misled that child and filled that child's mind, eventually the truth will come to light. It may not be in your lifetime, but eventually you will be vindicated, and your child will know who the better parent was and will know your story. You just keep on living and being the best person you can be and don't have any animosity, okay, towards the child. The child is innocent. The other thing is you need to be patient. It's hard. You want to be able to say that lying, raggedy, rascal, low down, dirty broad did this, that, and you can't do that. They will see for themselves. Trust me. That's how life is. Your son, the thing about, let me tell you guys some more biology. And did y'all like that biological lesson, the environmental estrogen? Did y'all like that? Yeah, you know, for you all who don't know, I was about 13 hours short of having my PhD in environmental molecular toxicology. I was working on a master's degree in biology, a PhD in environmental molecular toxicology, and a PhD in environmental planning all at the same time. And I was about 13 hours away from getting my PhD, one semester away from getting my PhD in toxicology. Plus, of course, I had to write a thesis. But the bottom line is, you know, I have that education and I rely on it every now and then. But in this situation, understand it, and I tell this to my children, your children get their intelligence capacity from their mothers, but they get their temperament and their character, those characteristics, from dad. So even if your son lives with his mother, he's still going to be you. He's still going to perceive the world in the same way you do. He's going to have his dad's temperament. You got a hostile, upset, Pookie, Ray type father, you're going to pretty much have a Pookie and Ray type son. You got an aggressive, overly masculine father, that son is going to be, that's why these ladies choose that. They choose those men for that reason. Because those type of men, typically aggressive and masculine, are more likely to be able to survive in the environment. If you're a cool, calm, collected sort of dude, your son has that capacity. His intelligence typically comes from the mother. And I hate to say this, there's a reason why these little white kids test higher. These little half white kids with their little white moms test a little higher than our regular little black kids. They get that intelligence from their mom. And for the most part, if you look at on par, on average, white Europeans test higher on these intelligence capacities, sort of. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. You can be mad at me all you want, but for the most part, you can be mad, but check the stats for yourself. Nevertheless, that child has your temperament. And so that child is going to not want to deal with the same things you did not want to deal with when it comes to mom. And eventually that little boy of yours is going to realize who his mother really is. Like many of these young men have on the internet. They can tell you horrible stories about their moms when they were children that they didn't understand, and they gave her the benefit of the doubt because they were blinded by the love that they had. Now, that being the case, would you all like to move on and get my take on dealing with little girls? Because Uncle D plans on having 2 little girls. Would y'all like to hear my take on how to raise little girls so they're not thotting it up? Would y'all like to hear that? I'm speaking theoretically, but would you all like to hear that? Let me know. You want me to talk about girls? Huh? Would you all like to do that? Yeah? If you would, hit the #1 button. If you want some advice on raising little girls, how a father like me, a very masculine, disciplined dad, who's done great jobs with boys under trying circumstances. Would you like to hear that? Let me know. Hit the #1 button. Where the ladies at? Would you like to hear how I would raise your daughter if I was that daughter's daddy? Well, the input I could have in it, because again, women need to raise their daughters. So that's why not only do you have a woman you can cooperate, but you want to have a child by a woman who's a good woman. Again, that's why a lot of men are traveling overseas. If you guys want me to talk about that, you're going to have to contribute to the super chat. I need another 20 super chats. And I'll talk, but y'all going to have to make the promise. If you promise to get me to 20 super chats and get me another 200 subscribers this week, you make that promise, I'll start talking about it, because I've given this a lot of thought, just like I gave a lot of thought to raising sons. So I want to see promise in the chat room. Y'all making a promise. We family out here. I'm Uncle D. Make a promise. I'm serious now. And I hate to do y'all like this, but y'all doing me dirty. Y'all do me dirty. I see these people who just start these channels and they got all these subscribers, and here I am having this major influence, not just on the YouTube, but on, society. People look at this channel. People look at what we're doing here. And for the most part, I am the only person on the internet that strictly advocates for black males against all odds. And you don't see me up here sniveling and crying either, like Van Jones. Yeah, you don't see me doing that. I represent us well. My sons represent us well. So you guys make that promise to me and I'll talk about it. Okay? Make that promise, but you guys got to make sure you subscribe, hit the super chat. And this also goes for people who are watching this on the rebroadcast. So here we go. Now, as you guys know, culturally speaking, my wife now is Afro-Latina. Her family's from the Dominican Republic. Okay? Now, she's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But one thing I do like is culture. Culture is like programming. Culture is like programming. Culture is like the programming in your computer. And for the most part, people can't really get around their programming. And that culture comes, or that programming comes from being immersed in the culture. So what's the game plan? Well, if I have 2 little girls, and that's the game plan, then at some point I'm going to need to immerse those 2 little girls in the culture that teaches them to be submissive, to be cooperative with the men. Now, how do I do that? Well, I got a good partner who was raised in that culture. Even though she was born and raised in the United States, she still has those Afro-Latino parents, and that's part of her culture. The women cook, they serve the men. So what does that mean I need to do? That means when I have little girls, just like I emphasize those masculine traits in my boys, lifting weights, doing martial arts, I need to emphasize femininity in my daughters. Now, anybody who knows what martial arts do I practice? What's the main one you always see me? I put a picture up earlier. Starts with a J, rhymes with flu, right? Jiu-jitsu. And the thing about jiu-jitsu is you learn to win from a submissive position. You can be on your back. You can be on your belly. You can be on your back. And you can literally choke someone and cause for them to pass out. Learning to win from a submissive position. Listen, Gail at Night, all you other sisters in here, learning to win from a submissive position. Biology has given you all the weapons that you need to win and submit a man, ladies. See, the trick about womanhood is you as a woman allow the man to think that he is dominant. But at the end of the day, if you play the game right, you win from a submissive position. Women are designed to win in the end. They outlive men. They live longer. They're smaller. They eat less. There's always a place for a woman. See, there's no country for old men. But if a woman plays it right, if she's feminine, if she cooks, if she cleans, everybody wants grandma to live because grandma's going to watch the kids. Grandma's going to cook. She's going to clean. She's going to help out. There's a place for her. There's no place for these combative, thick-necked, hard-headed modern women that we have. I don't want that type of grandma watching my kids. You out there with thongs on at 65 talking about you looking for a man. No. Somebody type no in the chat room. But a submissive woman always has a place. So how do we teach our children? Shout out to Johnny Vegas. How do we teach our daughters how to be submissive? It starts with having a woman from that sort of culture. Now, I have sons. I explained to you all earlier, even when my sons weren't really lifting heavy weights, they thought they were. So one of the things we're going to do with our daughters is our daughters are going to be in the kitchen. Now, they're going to be some limited physical fitness and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're going to be helping mom. When mom gets up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and cooks breakfast for the family, she's going to drag them up out the bed. Now, some of you women are angry right now. They're shaking their head right now. I can't believe that. Yes, my 2, 3, 4-year-old daughters are going to be in the kitchen helping their mom make breakfast and lunch and dinner. And then they're going to serve me and they're going to serve my sons. I said it. Somebody type winning from a submissive position. This is probably the most controversial thing. I'm sure there's some feminist heads out there popping right now. Yes, my 3, 4-year-old daughters, is 2-year-old, 1-year-old. They're going to be helping their mother in the kitchen at 4 or 5 years old cook, or at least they think they are. They're going to be cleaning up the house. At least they think they're going to be doing that. Why? Fellas, if you got a woman at home that's cooking and cleaning and she cooked 3 meals a day, every day, and it's good, where are you going to be every day when that food hits the table? Where are you going to be every day when that food hits the table? Breakfast is served at 7:30. Where are you going to be? Even if she brings it to you in your bedroom, brings it breakfast in bed, you're going to be in that bed at 7:30. Or you're going to be at that kitchen table at 7:30. At lunch, you're going to be at that lunch table. At dinner, we know where you're going to be. So she don't have to tell you to be home. Larry, where you going, Larry? I'm going to hang out with the fellas at the bar. No, I'm not. I'm going to be home eating these barbecue baked ribs that you cooked. That's where I'm going to be. So you just instituted control over your household. The Latinos have a statement, a saying about the wife. Ella es la alma de la casa. She is the soul of the house. Black people used to talk like this. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Do, do, do. And when she's gone away, right? She's the soul of the house. You might have built the house. You got the structure of the house. You got to teach your daughters how to be the soul of the house. And it starts with submission. So my little girls are going to realize that, yeah, I'm going to be down here. I've been helping mom cook since I was 1 year old. You couldn't even read, barely can walk. But she thought she was. That's part of her culture. Now, what effect does that have on those men? Your little sister been cooking and cleaning and whatnot for you since she was a little girl. Oh, can't nobody say nothing to her. These men in your life, in your family, and I tell my woman this all the time, you are a successful woman. You are surrounded by 4 dominant, strong, masculine men and boys that you cook and clean for, and whether you realize it or not, you rank very high in their value system. Nothing can happen to her. We got to keep her safe. What? She made steak tonight. No, we got to keep, these ain't even your kids, but they some other woman's kids, but you cook better than her. So they over your house. They want to eat what you cooking. Lord Jesus, when my lovely lady of ex-wife found out my current wife is over here making oxtails and cornbread and fried chicken like she was raised in somewhere in Alabama, Mississippi. She is well protected. You can't tell her nothing. I don't even have to be there. So the same effect is going to happen for these girls. It's not hard raising a little girl. You can have all the education, that's great. You can be cute, that's great. But if you can't keep men around you, you are going to be uncovered. Somebody type uncovered in the chat room. Somebody type uncovered woman in the chat room. You are going to be uncovered. Your own brothers and fathers don't even want to cover you because you're so difficult to get along with and you don't bring nothing back. Let me tell you something. Let me speak to you. Let me speak honestly. Ladies, you can erase a whole lot of errors and flaws about your character if you cook. If you cook good and you keep a clean house, half of these dudes will take you if you weigh 200 pounds. You don't even have to be that good looking if you cook and clean, baby. Be a cooking, cleaning woman. Hell, you ain't even got to be that cooperative. If you cooking 3 meals a day and you keep a clean house, he might deal with you just because he like your cooking. But see, that's a lost art. That is a control mechanism. Women were not just given sex as a means of control. They were given authority over your belly. That's why the old people used to tell me a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So I'm going to instill that in my little girls from day one. This is what you do. And because of that, these strong, productive men, all men are going to want to be around you. But you're going to be able to have the cream of the crop and keep those type of men around you. And they're going to like you and they're going to want to protect you and they're going to want to keep you safe. Shout out to Nice Shut Productions. These ladies know I'm telling you, see, y'all all needed a daddy like me, but you didn't have one. Shout out to my man, Johnny Vegas. You needed a daddy like me. The reason why these black men are traveling overseas and going to places like the Philippines and the Dominican Republic and Colombia is not because of these women are light-skinned and have long hair. It's because they cook and they clean. Cooperative, fit, feminine, all of that, that's great. They cook and they clean. These men ain't nothing like warm. It's nothing like a good food being cooked in the house. I'm trying to speak to y'all and tell you the truth about how men think. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And if you want to hold on to him, you keep a peaceful home. And the key to keeping a peaceful home is having it orderly. And having it orderly means it's clean. And you're not walking through the front door stumbling over shoes and bad kids. That's the way you keep a peaceful house. You keep an orderly house. You keep a man well fed. You know what he is. You don't even have to be that good in bed, ladies. You don't have to be a size 6. Shout out to my good brother, Kevin Samuels. You can be a big old gal and keep a man. So now I've explained to you that I'm going to teach my daughters to be submissive and cooperative with the men around them, starting with their brothers and myself, their father. And that's going to carry over into adulthood. Okay? They understand what it's like to be around a dominant man, and really all we got to do is keep them fed and do what women naturally do, and there's no problem. Now, what's the other things I'm going to do? We're going to stress physical fitness. I already told told my lady, look, when you wake up and exercise, they need to be down there with you. They need to do it. Why? Because you fellas, if you got a woman who cooks and cleans, but she 200 pounds, like, well, I'll take it. But if you got a woman who cooks, cleans, is submissive, cooperative, and she about 130 pounds, 5'10", 5'11", 5'8", whatever, we're going to be able to get rid of them, okay? We're going to be able to get rid of them. And the other thing is, and again, this goes along with that, not being afraid to allow your daughter to play competitive sports, whether it be volleyball or any of those sort of things, and you be there and you watch their diet and you tell them, hey, sweetheart, your best years for being able to attract the best, most successful man is going to be between about 18 and 25. As a matter of fact, my lady has already told her she's going to instill in them from day one. The little boys your age are your peers. They're not your husbands. She's let me know that, hey, at the point where they get 18, she's going to let them know you need to be looking for a man who's 35, even 40, who's established himself, who's successful, so that when you get out there, be 18, 19 years old, you don't be getting roughed up in the streets by these 18, 19-year-old boys. No, we're going to get you married and get you out of here. It's not that hard to raise little girls. Boys are a lot different. They have a lot more to navigate. Little girls, nah. They don't have to do much. You're born a woman. All you got to do is not mess it up, ladies. You're born with everything you need. All you need to do is not mess it up. That's why I spent an hour and a half explaining the complexities of raising little boys. These men have very low standards. If she fit, feminine, cooperative, she cooks, she cleans, and she in good shape and keep a clean house, she's gone. You're going to have men beating down the door to get your daughter, especially in what we're dealing right now. It's not that hard. I don't see how we are failing our daughters. The worst thing African-American women could have done to their daughters is tell them they don't need a man. That's the biggest curse that you've laid on black girls. I'm talking to you sisters. I know I love you, but you're going to hear this truth. You laid upon them that they don't need a man. They are the men. So they're masculine, they're domineering, as opposed to teaching them how to win through submission. You win with what you got. You didn't have to go out and buy a boat. All the man saw you cute. You came on the boat. All you got to do is be less than 140 pounds damn near and smile. That's why they call women human beings. Because your mere presence is sufficient. And they call men human doings. You got to actually do something. That's why I tell you, brothers, it's greater later. Somebody type is greater later in the chat room. You actually have to develop yourself and go time and be tested and get money and get success and be known in the community for being successful and achieve something. And then the respect that you gain from other men is what increases your social status, and other people look up to you, and women want to be with you, and fellas want to be like you. You got to do a lot to be a man. But for a woman, all you got to do is be slender, cooperative, and cute. And if you can cook and clean and you submissive and you know how to keep a peaceful house, you can have the best man on the planet for that short time period. And you need to capitalize on that. And you need to make yourself so valuable to that man, he could never contemplate leading you. There's no other woman in the world he would never. Men are like dogs in that regard. They are loyal for life. Loyal for life. You feed them, you take care of them, even in your darkest hour. If you get a man that's halfway decent, he's not going to leave you for some street meat. Somebody type street meat in the chat room. You've been cooking and cleaning for that man for 10 years, and now you got fibroids. You got cancer. He's not going to leave you. Not a decent man. Not a man who's become, because you are his comforter. You are his everything. That's what you ladies need to understand. You have everything you need, but you gave it away. These white women said, yeah, black woman, you don't need a man. And then they kept a man. And now they got some of y'all men. And you the only woman out there with no man. Because you believe the lies that they told you. Listen to me, ladies. I'm telling you the truth. It's not hard to raise little girls. Now, I still want my daughters to go to college. That'll keep that man honest. Yeah, she's going to go to college. We're going to pay for that. But she's still going to be fit, feminine, quiet. I don't care how many degrees you have. You still going to serve your father. You still going to serve your brothers. You still going to serve your husband. Just like you expect us to serve you, to keep you protected, to keep you safe. The other thing is, there's going to be a lot of demands placed on the type of men that the women for the women that I'm raising, my daughters. You're going to have to pay all the bills, brother. Somebody type all the bills in the chat room because their daddy paid all the bills. So my 18, 19, 20-year-old daughter is not going to marry some 18, 19, 20-year-old young man. She's going to marry somebody who's 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Somebody who's established himself, somebody who has a home, somebody who has financial assets. We're not doing the struggle love over here. I'm rich. Why would I let my daughter marry somebody that's poor? You think your game is going to do it? She can't even do what she's supposed to do. You don't have a kitchen. You got an efficiency. How is she going to cook 3 meals a day? You don't even have a car to get the groceries to bring them to the house. You're not worthy of my daughter. Either one of them. That's how that works. You're not worthy. You don't qualify, King. And see, I'm the type of daddy that'll tell you that. I'll tell her that. Their mother would tell her that. Why would you marry this man? He's 20, 21, you 20. Y'all can't do anything. Well, y'all gonna live in our guest house? No, you need to pick better. See, it's not about love when it comes to marriage. It's not about love when it comes to marriage. It's about legacy. It's not about love. It's about legacy. What sort of legacy do you want to live? You want to be broke, busted, and stuff? Because the love is going to end if you around there broke and busted and disgusted. Y'all going to be around there dotting each other's eyes and throwing pans at each other. He going to start cheating on you. Y'all not going to be happy people. So why even do that to yourself? That puppy love. Now, people can get to know each other and they can begin to have a certain love for each other. There's a certain love that comes from a person that provides for you when you have a healthy, toxic mindset. You love the person. That's why kids love their parents, because the parents do stuff for them. They feed them. They take care of them. It's natural for a human being to develop love and respect and admiration for a person that takes care. It's not complicated. Are y'all listening to? Are you guys getting some good game tonight? Are you beginning to understand? This is the culture that I'm going to raise my daughters in, so that they will be the type of women that you would want your sons to marry. And some of you brothers who are out there at 20 years old, in 40 years or in 20 years, you're going to be happy to see somebody like my little girls out there when they 20-something years old, 21. Golly, beautiful. They cook, they clean, they're cooperative. They're not out in them streets, no tattoos. They don't talk foul. You'll be proud to see them. I'm just saying, I know after this broadcast, I'm going to be a misogynist, oppressing women, all that. And let me tell you something else. I tell all my children, I can't wait till you don't do what I say do. I look forward to you telling me I'm not going to do what you say do anymore, Daddy. Why? Because that means my obligation is up. You grown now. Somebody type, you talk grown, you grown. I tell my sons that all the time. Son, the minute you decide to tell me you're a man and you ain't going to do what you, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to be like, thank you, Lord. Praise God. I am free. My obligation is up now. I'm free. You just freed me. So please rebel. Please tell me what you ain't going to do. Please. Please tell me what you ain't going to do. And that goes double for my daughters. Please tell me you going to sneak out the house. You ain't got to sneak. There's the front door. Just don't come back. Look, it's in my blood. Some of you all read my books, my grandma. Y'all heard the story about how my great-great-great-grandfather was an attorney. Back in 1908, he died. So from 1880, he was an attorney, a prominent attorney. So y'all like, well, how did you end up in the hood, Uncle D? Well, my great-great-grandfather left his family a lot of money. One of his daughters married a prominent preacher. That was a good relationship. They had 3 daughters, 3 beautiful daughters, okay? One of those daughters got married twice, one to a very wealthy man, another to a second wealthy, because, you know, them people used to get, old people back in the day, you get married all the time. They had walking me. Married this one, married that. But she married 2 rich men, had 2 kids, one for each man. Then around about 22 years old, because remember, they used to get married young. Then around about 22 years old, she met a man named Teal, okay? Somebody type Teal in the chat room. She met my great-granddaddy, whose real name was Eddie. She met Eddie Teal Williams, and he was a gambling, fighting, shooting, getting in and out the penitentiary type dude. And she ended up with him, and her daddy, who was a preacher, a prominent preacher in Mississippi, said, if you marry that man, I'm going to disown you. And she decided to marry that man, had 8 kids for him, and lo and behold, he disowned her. So she grew up in what would be considered a middle class, upper middle class household, and end up picking cotton in Tutwiler, Mississippi, because she wanted to lay down with a thug. Ain't that something? Messed it up. Love my grandma, beautiful woman, but I always thought, golly, grandma, why are your kids? And then I'm talking about my aunties, and why are they so raggedy and what all the Donald Duck orange juice and Domino's? So golly, they so violent around here. They weren't even like her. She was raised upper middle class with upper middle class values, had plastic on the couch, always had a wig on, had a piano in the living room, had a hard life because she decided to marry a man who was below her social status, who her father didn't approve of, and who caused for her to get disowned. So here I am, a generation later, 2 generations later, picking back up where my great-grandfather would have wanted my grandmother to be. But she made a decision. So let me tell you something. For my own daughters, shout out to Chad Sanders. For my own daughters, who ain't here yet, you go marry one of these thugs if you want to. You'll get disowned too. And we'll direct those resources to the other young girls in the family who will follow and do what daddy says do. And focus on the legacy and not love. Listen, legacy over love. Listen to me again. Legacy over love. And let me bring this on home. It's a lot of you black men out there who love black women. You still do. But you dating women who are non-black. Or maybe they're foundational, maybe they're not, maybe you're foundational black American and they're not. Why? You love them. I know you brothers are proud to see black women win in the Olympics like that. It made me proud. But many of you all realize they too far gone. I can't deal with them. They want to be divested. I can't deal with that. You love them, but you got to leave them alone because it's about legacy. Irrespective of what Dr. Umar Johnson says, black men and black women don't get along. And so you brothers putting legacy over love have gone out overseas, even in the United States, to find fit, feminine, cooperative women who don't look like the mama and the grandmama and the aunties and the sisters and all the extended family of women that helped raise you. Because you put legacy over love. And that was the wise thing to do because you're concerned about your own children. I understand. And it's a big step to do that. You became a man today. Because men have to set aside their emotions. Remember when I said that earlier about my sons? You got to set aside your emotions and do what's most important. God gave man one commandment. What was that one commandment that the Most High gave when he put Adam in the garden? What did he say? Be fruitful and what? Multiply. That was your only commandment. That was your only commandment, brothers. And so if you begin to put love over legacy, which is what we have been doing, you end up with the same remnants of the black community that this once great black community that we once had. That's where we at. So brothers are like, nah, I'm gonna go find me a woman who's gonna make a good wife and some good children, healthy children from a decent culture. You putting legacy over love because you want your children. Many of y'all haven't had kids. Is it somewhere between 48 to 50% of black men don't have children and aren't married? Your legacy is gonna die with you. And some of y'all are okay with that because you have no idea how to raise children. Didn't have good fathers. You don't know how it is to be a father. You don't know. You like hell with it. But most of you guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, when you get 65, 70 years old, you're gonna regret that. You're gonna see people like me in the backyard with our grandchildren barbecuing, sitting in a big chair, and you're gonna regret that because you're gonna realize you have no legacy. Because you couldn't find love in the foundational black American community, you decided to let love trump all. And so you will have no legacy. And I'm telling you that's not healthy, in my opinion. It's not healthy. Put your legacies first, fellas, especially with your daughters, because your daughter is going to be your heart. And the last thing you want to do is see her fail. So do those things. Don't follow what the matriarchal doctrine says do. Don't tell your daughter she's equal in every regard to her man, to men. Tell your daughter you need to be fit, feminine, and cooperative. You can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, but you still need to be in there cooking and cleaning. And if you ain't cleaning, you definitely need to be cooking because you might hire a maid, but if you got somebody else cooking, your children are going to get used to that person's food. That's what happens. Smart women are very possessive about where their man eats. A good woman is never going to let her man leave her house hungry and go somewhere else and eat because she doesn't want her sons and her man to get used to eating other people's food because they'll start liking her food, that other woman's food, more than her own. That's why it's always a competition. Back in the day would be a competition between women. Who can make the best potato salad? Who can cook this the best? Who can do that the best? What the men are going to eat. That was a contest of femininity. Just like men do a contest of strength. Who can run the fastest? That's your control right there. Ladies, you are submissive, but you win from a submissive position. It's the reason why white women or women in general hold more wealth in America than all the men, because men die earlier and women win in the end. But ladies, you've been taught how not to win. My daughters are going to be winners. Praise God. Somebody type hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We're going to take a quick break. We need about 8 more super chats. If y'all want to continue this conversation, I believe I put the link to the chat room in. If you want to come on in, we'll chop it up for a minute.
Brother Spurley met his fiance in my mixed group, and she was doing her thing, Ivy League educated, beautiful sister. He's a successful attorney. Now he's like, shh, that's my wife. I'm gonna put her through law school. She's gonna become an attorney at my practice. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. I want to call you back to the sister that called into my show who said when I first listened to you, I didn't like you.
Yeah. Shout out to the late, great Kevin Sam. So the link is in the chat room. If you guys appreciate what I've done, if you like what I've done, if you've learned something, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you contribute to the super chat. We had a little uproar earlier. Somebody donated $2,500, but turned out it was an error. I meant to donate $5, Uncle D. So I gave him a refund. I appreciate that. I only want what you guys mean to give me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not like these. Some folk wouldn't have sent it back. I only want you what you want to give me. You understand me? So I appreciate y'all giving me what you got. Ladies, if you want to come in and talk to me, maybe you want to critique me about my ideas on raising little girls, you come in. Fellas, if you got daughters, you got sons, you need advice, come on in. The link is in the chat room. I'm going to give y'all a little chance to come on in. What we'll do is, listen, we got somebody. We got a couple of people. Come on, let's fill up the chat room real quick. Let's come chop it up. Let's come on in. Let's have this conversation. Don't be scared. All right. What's happening, young brother? How you doing today, Cody?
All right, man. By my father right now, man.
Okay. So what did you learn tonight? Maybe you learned something new about your father. Maybe you learned something new about yourself.
So what I've learned, and I even learned before when you said that about being with somebody instead of just being with somebody black, you can be with somebody just decent. My grandmother said the same thing before she died. And I remember when I was in San Diego, coming from Hawaii, you know, just handling business for a couple of days and then go back to Hawaii to work back on the ship at the time. And she told me, it doesn't matter what type of woman you get, long as she's decent. She don't have to be black or white. And that stuck with me, and
a decent woman is going to raise decent children. A debaucherous woman is going to raise debaucherous children. When you got a woman who for the streets, she going to raise children who for the streets. Look what's been going on in the black community for the past 30, 40 years. We've had women who are for the streets. And the effect is now the hottest rapper used to be, somebody who at least tried to put a positive message out in the community to people like Sexy Red. You understand? It's because of who raised them and how they raised them. So just keep that in mind. But what else would you like to add, brother?
Well, also I understand that because I also had a video. I responded to what you said on the video, and it made me think. And I remember seeing a guy. I think I saw a video. The guy was like 80 or 90 years old. He don't have no descendants, nothing, nobody. He's regretting it now.
Oh yeah, you're
gonna
keep on living.
Go their own way and go monk. However, I mean, we're social creatures. We're supposed to be socializing with each other. We're supposed to relate. That's what a relationship is.
Do you have any children?
No, I don't. No, unfortunately.
All right. So we'll just this is a good time for you to learn and put your plan together for fatherhood. And also how to pick a woman, especially considering that woman is going to have a major influence on your children. Shout out to Chad Sanders, $5. Our young adult daughters do not need to be dealing with men their age. They will fail under those circumstances. We must protect our daughters' future. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said that black people shouldn't even get married till about 35, 40. I would suggest that men shouldn't get married about 35 or 40, and they should marry younger women because at that point they're more mature. Big shout out to Johnny Vegas. Talked with a Filipino woman today, joked around and said going to retire in the Philippines. She said you should have a Filipino take care of you. You'll get fat because she'll take care of you. They sure will. Yeah, man, that food will slow you down. That when you're skinny out there, you're out there in the street, your little thing is out there trying to poke everything in them streets when you're skinny. Okay, when you're skinny, young boy, but when you get a little chubby, you got to slow down a little bit. That's what food does. That's the way women control. Slim Shady, late brother K is one of you lovely ladies to win. Uncle D wants you lovely ladies to win as well. This is real game. Keep cooking on counselor. Yeah, brother, I want you brothers to win, and I want there to be good women out there for you brothers to choose from. Johnny Vegas, cheers, Unc. Shout out to you. Slim, unmute yourself, man. We've talked a lot about Black Fathers Matter and why, and I went into some things. Has there been anything that's been helpful for you, maybe help you understand your father better? You maybe, I don't know if you're a father or not. Has it helped you understand fatherhood better? Go ahead, shoot. Tell us.
Well, first off, this is a really important conversation for Black men to have, because I do think that we need to be a lot more deliberate about how we go about rearing our children, right? So I grew up with a mother, father in the home. And I feel like for the most part, we were kind of left to our own devices after a certain age. And we were more so maintained as long as we stayed out of trouble rather than actively put into things. But my dad put us into sports and stuff like that. But like most of the important stuff that I had to figure out later on in life, I had to pick that up from other folks outside the home. So I think this is great. I'm not saying that there's one way to raise all your children, but I do think we need to be a little bit more deliberate about how we go about rearing our children, girls especially, but especially for the boys, because they've got a much tougher lot in life that they need to go through some sort of a gauntlet first. Because there used to be these such things as like manhood training for little boys, like the age of 13 and stuff like that. They take them out to the woods and do all kinds of stuff with them, to try to build firearms, build a fire, and do stuff like that. And I don't think children necessarily get that today. You know, they're on their phones all day. They're on TikTok dancing in videos. And I don't know really where they're going to get their manhood training from, but may God help them. That's all I can say.
Brother, you know, you hit on a couple of points. Somebody type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. You guys type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. Come on, fellas, type Black Fathers Matter. You hit on a couple of points. I come from the position of parenthood that does not leave things to chance. I tell my children how they should think and what they should think and what their priorities should be in this society. You should, as a man, your priorities should be your physical fitness, your financial fitness, your mental and your emotional development. You should be focused primarily on acquiring wealth, power, and resources, even beginning at a young age. That's why I have them working at my office. This is where you're going to work if you choose to. If you choose to do something else, that's fine, but you're still going to be able to take these character traits wherever you are, okay? The other thing that you hit on, oh my God, you hit on something else, man. Being more involved. What was that last part you were talking about? I think you mentioned, golly.
I was talking a bit about how back in the day, like older gentlemen would come and get the young kids and they would take them like to go hunting. It was some sort of like a, it's kind of like how gladiators, not gladiators, but like.
So when you study some of the ancient African civilization and the tribal men, they would take the boys at a young age and separate them from the women, and they would put them off with the men, and then the boys would come back sometime later. He'd be a man, he'd have his own hut, and all the women in the community had to bow down to him. There are stories about that. When you look at ancient Greece and you look at the Spartans, at about 5 or 6 years old, they would separate the boys from the mothers, and in fact, they would keep them isolated, and they would have to be off learning to be warriors. What I did with my sons is I basically put them through something like manhood training, and it consisted of them having to get different belts in martial arts. I would take them out and do different tasks. It taught them to be task oriented. It taught them to have goals. It taught them practice. It taught them repetition. It taught them mental. Even sitting there trying to focus and shoot a bow and arrow in a dot, in a board 50 feet away. That's hard for a 6 or 7 year old child, but it teaches them to concentrate. But again, I patterned what I did after these ancient societies who had all these masculine men. And I did it specifically, and I overdid it because of the onslaught of the rainbow influence that we have that tries to effeminize black men. You see what I mean? So there's a rhyme to my reason. Y'all type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. Ain't no reason I should not be getting more people active in the chat room, brother. It's just a sad situation. This is a wonderful topic, but it might be just because it's late. But I'm happy about having the people that I have here. Cody, what else would you like to add to this conversation, brother?
Well, you know, it's good to, like, I also had that similar thing. We had Boy Scouts coming, you know, when I was coming, you know, around, and unfortunately I didn't attend it, but that was a good thing, especially when you went to church, to certain churches, and you had certain churches, then they had, you know, certain manhood things with the men at the church at the time. See, now I don't know how it is now, but when I was coming up and growing up in a Christianity, you know, the church household, whatever, with the church, and they always had a thing with the men, you know, and they have Bible study with men, and pick up your Bibles and you study with the Bible at the time. And I don't know, like I said, now it's a whole different story now.
That's great. That's great. But what if we can get men doing masculine things with our sons? See, instead of having a Bible school teacher, I had a Shotokan sensei. You see, instead of having a Boy Scout, I had a jujitsu professor. So there's nothing wrong with the Boy Scouts, and you know, we could do that's good too, the interaction. But why not have them interacting with other strong men? You see what I mean? Dominant. I'm speaking rhetorically in that regard. And so what I'm saying is, fellas, don't leave it up to chance. Don't be the father who drops his kid off at football practice and gives the job of instilling masculinity into his son to some other man. You played a part in that. You have to have a crucial role in that. Again, you have to be, I've been called an aggressive parent. Okay, I'm an aggressive boy. You're gonna get in there and you're gonna get that SAT score up aggressively, but I'm willing to pay for it. That's what I mean. Don't be the type of parent that puts demands on your children and then you just give them no resources to try to execute those demands. Y'all type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. Slim Shady, what else would you like to add to this this thing, man?
I think that last point you made was like very poignant. You know, I grew up in a household where both my parents had gone to college, but they were pretty much working class folks coming up, so they didn't necessarily have a lot of time. And I don't necessarily give them that excuse anymore because my parents were the type where, you know, when your report card came, now they want to get on your case. Now, I was a straight A student my whole life. My older brother, he's more like a class clown, and he used to bring home not the best grades. And then that was the time for them to want to chastise him. But I'm like, well, at that point, it's too late. You got to do those checks in between. I didn't necessarily need that because I enjoyed being a good student. I got a lot of praise for it. I kept going. So I think you do have to be very intentional about your kids. As much as they put all of this effort into kids going to football practice and going to basketball practice, it's like you need to be teaching them the things that's going to make them wonderful, productive citizens. And so that brings me to another point, because I see how you raise your son. Y'all can see how you raise your sons on here. You're doing a bang-up job. It's inspirational for all of us. But how do you get them connected to other kids around their age who probably would benefit from that same type of deliberate upbringing when they don't necessarily have an Uncle D as their father? Like, are we trying to train those children to become the leaders of the new school, or are we teaching them to just run all over the competition because there really is none?
Yeah. So here's the thing, brother. I can't raise your kids. But I do want to make sure your kids, if they have negative aspects, don't influence my kids. So how do I do that? Who doesn't? We all understand how peer pressure works, right? Peer pressure works because you want to kind of fall in and conform. But how do you force a warrior to conform? You can't. You can't put a warrior in servitude because a warrior is going to be a warrior. He's going to fight for his freedom. So how do you punk a warrior? You can't, because he's going to fight you. How do you intimidate or how do you peer pressure a warrior? He don't care what you think. He knows he can kick your butt. So by raising my sons in these martial arts, even before they even knew what martial arts was, they already realized they're stronger, tougher, and can fight better than most of their peers. So their peers don't really influence them. They influence their peers. They're the dominant men in that area. You see what I mean? You see how that works? So I'm basically inserted young boys with a warrior. And you guys, if you ever interacted with my sons, they're not the typical kids. They don't whine, they don't complain. They're hard dudes. At 15 and 7, they are hard dudes. They think clearly, they've had to deal with consequences. They're the type of man you'd be like, okay, that's a grown-ass man right there. You see what I mean? And because they give off that vibe, we've never had any issues in school. They don't give off any issues that this is the person that we can intimidate. The football players don't give them a hard time. They just leave them alone. You see what I mean? The bullies don't give them a hard time. They just leave them alone. So when it comes to the influence that other children have on my sons, I tell them all the time, whatever you did, you didn't do it because of peer pressure. You did it because you wanted to do it. Because can't nobody up at that schoolhouse whoop your ass. So you did it because you wanted to do it. You see what I'm saying? And so that allows me then to put pressure and responsibility back on them for comporting themselves as young men should. And so, yeah, man, rites of passage, you right on point with it. What I'm going to ask you guys to do, man, is this. Fathers, future fathers, put some thought. First of all, learn who your children are. Every child is different. But there are some things that each one is going to need. If you're dealing with boys, they're going to need to know how to be masculine. They're going to need to know what masculinity is. They're going to need to know how to control their emotions. They're going to need to know how to abide to authority. They're going to need to know how to follow instructions. They're going to need to fear you because that fear that they have for you will transfer into society, to the greater society when it comes to fear of authority. And that's going to be something that saves their lives, and going to be allowed them to operate in this society without without those rebellious inclinations that oftentimes cause young boys, especially, and young men to do stupid things and lands them in a lot of trouble. When you're talking about girls, hey, look, man, it's a lot of traps out there for them little girls. It's a lot of streets out there for them to walk on. You don't want your daughter walking up and down the red light district street. You see? And look, I know you don't believe any man is worthy of your daughter. I know that. But somebody needs to marry her. Somebody needs to take a good, decent man needs to take her under his wing so that he can take care of her and get her out of your house so she can go off and have babies. Because if she don't have babies with a good man, she's going to have babies with a bad one. And then you're going to be dealing with you're going to be raising those grandchildren like you didn't raise your own children, because that's where they're going to end up, because you're not going to want to see your own child, your child's child out there in the street. So you're going to be an old person raising some young kids. So raise them right. And when it's time to let them go, but you got to give them the equipment that they need. Look, Black fathers matter. I can't summarize this conversation in 2 or 3 minutes. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I meant everything that I said. We have a great reputation, even though they've denied our commitment to fatherhood. The studies show that Black fathers are the most involved. So we don't really have far to go. All we got to do is hold on to the championship, remain sitting on the throne, and everything else is going to fall in line. We are the most involved fathers in America, and we want to hold on to that. And kudos to you fellas for holding that title under all the disrespect and toxic statements made about us. Shout out to the brother. Somebody type BFM in the chat room. Black Fathers Matter. Somebody type Black Fathers Matter in the chat room. We should mean that. Hold that title, fellas. But in the meantime, look, I want to give a shout out to Cody Marshall. Thank you so much, Slim Shady. I appreciate y'all coming through. At this point, man, I done said enough. I've said all I need to say. I done said what I said. You heard me. I repeat myself a couple times. And hell, I'm out of here. Shout out. Bam, I'm out.
Dennis Burley Podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.